Hello and welcome to Casting Roles. We're a bunch of theater nerds and good friends play a little D&D. We're so happy that you joined us. Take a moment to subscribe to the show. It takes just a click and gains our unending thanks. Drop us a like and leave us a comment hyping up Campaign 2. Our videos are uploaded on YouTube every Friday. We have tons of great content to explore. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start the show. All right, so last time, our crew returned from haunting visions provided by the mountain to be told by Trame that the mountain shares visions of the challenges of the continent through dreams and memories of the past. You also discovered unique items seemingly pulled out of these visions at your feet, and Trame showed you that regardless of how the rites seemed to have gone, it worked, and the protective power of the mountain returned, brightening the greenery around and keeping the shadows at bay. You made your way back to the village where a festival in your and the Right's honor was being held, where you all accosted Weller to identify your items. Andalus and Lucky shared a heart-to-heart on their connections to spirituality, with Lucky wondering where gods go when they die. The next day, you prepared for your eventual excursion away from the village and base camp, deciding to set out to discover the source of the mysterious lights which shot down your airship, and perhaps build relationships with other local communities. So with that in mind, the day ahead of you as you wake up in the morning, what would you all like to do?
Bonnie's going to make a big meal for everybody, whether they want it or not.
All right. So you all have a fresh, what is herringon breakfast, Bonnie?
It's like a brown sugar porridge with eggs.
Kieran will offer the use of his spice pouch.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh, yeah.
She probably is going to dig in for some cinnamon and grate it over everything.
And you know what time it
First
is?
useful item.
It's tea time. I make tea.
So everyone has advantage on their first saving throw of the day.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Some kind of saving throw. Con saving throw, I think.
I think so.
And you said last time we each got 2 healing potions, correct?
So as a group, you got 2 healing potions, and then you did get 7 days of rations included with all of that. So you don't need to worry about your rations for your journey, but you did only get 2 healing potions.
Okay.
Once the alchemist is up and running, that will be a lot easier to come by.
Mm-hmm.
Will we be able to set up a transport system to, as we're all enjoying our breakfast, to get supplies to us out in the field, or are we just planning on making our way back to our main base camp every time?
We should be able to forage, and if we make connections with the natives, maybe we can barter food.
So how long are we planning on being out?
I mean, not this specific outing, but in the future, is that something that we need to think about setting up some type of transport, maybe once they get...
So we can use my wagon and load it up with all the provisions we'll need.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we get in a pinch, I can make I can goodberry us too. So it's not always the best, but just in case.
Can jazz up the good berries with some spices. Might be an interesting eat.
Yeah, with your interesting little pouch there, it's already proven pretty useful, huh?
Looks just like my sister's. She'll be mad if it actually is hers and transported to me.
Oh, so you
I'm like looking for berries
siblings.
for Kieran.
Pardon?
No. So you have you have siblings, huh?
Yes, I do. I'm one of 7.
Where exactly are you all from? Where did you leave your family?
They're scattered to the 4 winds.
Oh, well, sorry to hear that. That's
Oh, no, it's quite intentional.
Oh, well. family can be a pretty tough thing. I understand that myself.
Yes, well, we convene back at the manor every so often.
7's a nice, cozy number.
7. It's a lot
5
of
brothers, 2
siblings.
sisters.
Is the manor far from here? Or, well, I guess everything's far from this continent, but
Not making it easy on you, Ronnie.
I see. See me? I'm digging. I'm waiting for Lucky or Analyst to jump in.
I'm staring at you, I think. Watching you try to socialize.
Oh, so that's what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Studying and taking notes. As you all finish. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, Bunny.
I'll load up the wagon with like 2 weeks of provisions.
Okay, so it's probably. Let me see. Go ahead and make a luck check for me. Just based on the fact that.
Lucky will also point out that he has the purify food and drink spell as a ritual. So if that's probably more useful for water because it doesn't create food or water, but just as an option for when we're out and about, we may not need as much fresh water.
A D100, Josh.
Just make a D20 and then you want highs.
19.
19, okay. Yeah, so
really?
because that was going to be how much of the provisions that were brought on the ship were damaged during the crash landing. So you're able to round up, in addition to the 7 days of rations that each of you have in your packs that were given to you by Remy, you're able to get an additional week's worth of rations for the whole group and keep them in the cart. So you have 2 weeks of rations for the crew, and especially because since with Lucky's spell, you don't necessarily have to get a barrel of water or anything like that, so you've got space.
Yay.
Based on
everything non-essential in the cart, I'll put into one of the stone giant hills and let Harold know where it is.
Yeah. Based on your knowledge of the area, you guys aren't exactly sure how far of a distance it is. You'd probably need to compare, look at the map of Highwall that they have at the cartographer's tent to kind of get a general idea of how long your travel would be if your goal is to get to the valley where the light is supposedly coming from.
I'll go bother the cartographer for this information.
So in the tent, the only one of the scouts that's there presently is Antiope. Thresh and Harold are out getting ready for their own expedition, which is leaving today. And Antiope is, she kind of says, hello, Lucky, it's wonderful to see you. Is there something that I could do for you today?
Yes, I have a question. We're looking to head out ourselves and explore. Is there any chance that you would know roughly how long it would take for us to get to the Valley of the Opal?
Opal, yeah. So she takes one of the large maps that's kind of rolled up at the back and unrolls it on this table at the center of the tent. And she says, let's see. So this is a very blank, as you can see. But what we do know about the Valley of the Opal is that it is, according to the stone giants here, and she points to like a U-shaped valley region that's cut into the northern mountain range, which is kind of to the north west of this mountain, and it's almost directly west, but then like slightly north. And she says, well, I think based on the size of Highwall, I would imagine it's about 130 miles or so. So it's across the plain of the shifting reeds, which is a fairly wide expanse there. But yes, so a full there and back, you're looking at a 250 miles or so.
You think
Right,
20
and-
miles, the average day travel.
On a cart, and Bonnie's cart in particular, you can get about 30 miles per
Okay.
day.
Okay.
Let's help Bonnie load up the cart with whatever supplies.
How's the wind,
and
Josh?
I would like to ask Antiope about like if on the map there seems to be anything that's like immediate roadblock or like difficult terrain or like something
Yeah.
that would be like an obvious thing that's already been caught.
Yeah, so she kind of takes a smaller rolled up version of the map, which is basically just kind of a blank map. And she says, this is supposed to go to Kirin anyway as the kind of expedition note taker for your trips. And she kind of makes a note draws a little bit of the forest that's right in front of kind of surrounding the mountain. And she says, "But if you're going by foot, the forest presents its own challenges. There are some not too nice wildlife there. But if you're going by cart, the forest would not be passable immediately. But however, there is a break in the forest, and she puts kind of makes a mark where the forest comes to an end and there is an open path there. It's a little bit to the south and to the east. So you'd have to cut down a little bit before you cut back up.
Okay.
But we are going on our excursion. Since you all are heading north, we are digging further south and then going to circle around the mountain to the south and east and start fleshing out our understanding of the immediate area in the next few days here.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, Antiope.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited to be doing the work that we were brought here to do. Finally.
Can I insight check? Is she like bitter? Is she like mad?
Yeah, go
Is she
ahead.
like? I want to know like if she's like mad at circumstances or if she has like beef with anyone. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
Yeah.
It's not an amazing roll, but I got 13.
You get the sense like there's not like she's not like pissed off, but it's probably more like these are not the ideal circumstances for this job that she was hired to do, and she's having to make things work as best she can. She's probably slightly thankful that your group decided that the cartographers were the most important thing to start with. So she is about to get out of the base building portion of the work and go out while everyone else is still building up areas.
Okay, cool. Then I leave her be and rejoin.
She said, "Good luck, Lucky, and to the rest of your crew."
Thank you.
All right. So you all rejoined at Bonnie's cart, which Bonnie, if anybody's noticing, doesn't have a horse or anything pulling it.
Yeah, I was wondering, Bonnie, exactly how does this special cart work?
I'm gonna check the wind.
Please don't.
Okay.
Please don't tell me this is what I think. Please don't. Lucky is whispering to himself.
Go ahead and make a nature check or survival check, Bonnie.
Okay, let's see what's better. I have slightly better nature than survival. A 10.
10. The wind here seems to consistently be blowing at in a northeasterly direction. Like it's coming off of the coast and coming across. You get the sense like you're probably in an area here where the wind is slightly dampened by the mountain presence behind you, but there's clearly two mountain ranges and a large ocean, and the wind is funneling through between those two areas as it moves across the continent. So for the first leg of your journey, while you're cutting around down to the south and heading east to get around the forest, will be fine, but you're going to have to go into the wind for the second part of the journey, which is going to slow your progress down a little bit, but you can switch back to catch the wind at an angle like you would on a sloop or whatever.
Okay, so yeah, Bonnie's gonna she's gonna like dig into the interior of the. It looks like a Romany wagon, like it's like really high arched on top and it's very well decorated. And she's gonna dig in. There's like a bunch of hempen rope that then leads up into like really fine like silk strands, and she's going to like pull up a packet of cloth and start like spinning it around like a sling and then throw it into the air, and it's gonna break out like several like several dozen feet above the wagon into a kite and slowly start pulling the cart along.
Is everyone on the
And
car?
It's like she's got a brake so she can like hold it, but like yeah.
Well, if that ain't something.
Wow.
Well said, Robert.
Are we going? We're going, right? Everybody on.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going.
All right. So with the there's clouds off to your west over the ocean, with the idea that there's probably rain moving in the next few hours or day or so. You cut away from the mountain and begin to trudge down to kind of the edge of the forest and out of sight of the base, with only the mountain range behind you, and then or to your right as you're moving, and the mountain of Makta kind of slowly disappearing as the sun begins to rise in the sky. And we cue our traveling music as we head.
Yeah.
So as you're traveling, since you guys don't have to walk,
I'll play some jams.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's go,
I'm
make
the
it-
traveling music. Let's
make
go.
a
Yeah.
performance check, Lucky.
Okay. What are you, a 9? Are you a 6? You are a 9. Okay. So that is a 13.
13. Good. And then you don't necessarily have to have any one person, like Bonnie's in charge of driving the cart, but is anybody else wanting to kind of take point as just surveying the area? You all can also just roll perception if you want, but if you want one person to be kind of in charge of the actual scouting the path.
But Bonnie is very busy like managing the kite and the wagon. Like this is not just like stand behind the horse and let the horse run. Like this is an active thing Bonnie's
Harold
doing.
is normally Bonnie's lookout to make sure she's on the right path. So she would need somebody to help support her with that.
Well, Kieran's got to be doing for cartography stuff, so.
Okay. So Kieran, go ahead and make.
I can sit up with him and do some perception stuff.
Yeah. So Kieran wants to do it.
I imagine I can multitask.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Okay.
But say if you're going to help kind of keep an eye out while you're playing, then Kieran can roll with advantage on his because he's drawing the map as he goes. So Kieran, you can roll your survival check. And then as you're...
Natural 19 plus 2, so 21.
Nice. So as you're playing this kind of jaunty sound trailing ahead, immediately all of you notice like the forest that you came out of, there was always that feeling of like creeping shadows coming out of it, like in the shadows of the eaves of the trees, the vines that seem to be growing up out of the ground that were there to eat or take anything that dared to enter into the boughs. And you notice like the forest feels more welcoming here close to the mountain. Like you don't see any hint of those vines, that energy from the mountain has seemed to push a lot of that away. But about an hour or so into the journey south, you do see some of that returning. That range of the mountain's protection only goes so far, and the forest then kind of takes on that old primeval energy that it had before, and you start to hear the sounds of forest creatures and things that are are not just birds, but large entities crashing through the forest at the sound of this cart approaching. But eventually, with Kieran guiding, you get to an area where the forest begins to kind of peter out into trees and then open up into a large, kind of wide grassland expanse between the forest and a large lake. This lake is kind of, from what you can see of it, is fairly large, pretty massive, and seems to jut further up to the north and east, and then curves around out of view. The side that you're on is a slightly higher bank, so there's probably a 15 or 20 foot drop into the lake, but then you can see that the bank on the other side is a little bit lower, and the lake is just kind of sitting in that area. And this seems to be the cut up where you can now cut back up to the north and to the east, or north and to the west, so that you can start heading towards the plain. So Bonnie curves the ship cart around that way with the cart, and you start to head there, having to go with the wind a little bit and then switch your angle as you're going up here, Bonnie.
Acting.
Yeah. What you do notice, Kieran, is as you're traveling across the lake, there's two things that kind of pop into view. Probably about another hour pass. You see a large island at the center of the northern side of this lake, which is almost kind of like a mound. And has one large, extremely large tree that's like jutting out to the side, it seems like it should be tipping over, but the roots are gripping very voraciously on this large stone. And it's difficult to tell, like, did the tree grow out of the stone or something happened? But this stone is here and the tree's gripping it, and this is at the center of this fairly like kidney bean shaped island at the center of the northern part of the lake. And then you also see that there might be a road or something that's similar to, like, not a paved path, but there's grassland on, like you've been traveling along grassland, but then suddenly your cart hits dirt and it's fairly packed. And it's about 15 feet, 20 feet wide. And then there's grassland on the other side. And this path seems to go to the north and the east, and curve around the lake, and then it seems to swoop around the eastern side of the forest going north as well. So you can follow this path if you like. It looks, I mean, it's the first sign of potential civilization that you've come across.
You're driving, Bonnie.
We see movement from that area? Or?
So with Kieran's perception check, and it's difficult to tell from like a moving cart, you don't see any movement. Like, there's not anybody on the path, but you'd have to stop the cart and get out and explore to see if people had traveled on the path, with, like, if there's tracks or anything like that. But just moving, you don't see any other people on the path.
I'm not going to reel the kite in, but I am going to, like, put the brake on and throw down a anchor. Like,
okay.
I'm going to hammer like a stake into the ground so the cart doesn't run off. And basically just be like, well, I think we should take a closer look before we get all hemmed in on a road like that.
Do I know anything about that tree, or like what kind of tree that is?
Yeah, go ahead and make a nature check, Andalus. And then if anybody would like to check the path for tracks, you can look for, you can do a survival check if you've.
I'll assist someone so they can have advantage.
I got a 10.
A 10.
I didn't do a survival.
I've got no survival skills, so y'all are on your own.
Yeah, I'm not probably the best.
I can help with nature. If anybody's got nature, I can help with that.
No, I got it. It's I got a 17.
17.
You can help me and all.
Was that with advantage?
Yeah.
So Anna, let's go ahead and roll with advantage with Bonnie helping you on nature.
I got 15.
15. So Andalus, the first thing you know is that it is it's a willow tree, which you have not seen that type of tree here. A lot of the trees in the forest here are like northern deciduous, like oaks and elms, like hardy. There's a lot of spruce and pine in this forest. A willow tree seems to be slightly out of place climate-wise to this area, but it seems very old, and it's difficult to. I mean, like it's probably you're on the north side of the lake. It's probably 300, 400 feet away from you, so it's hard to tell origins or anything like that. Other than you can tell from its very distinctive leaf pattern and branch pattern that it's a willow tree.
Yeah. I'm like standing next to Bonnie while we're talking about it, and I'm like, forsaken, slighted love, willow trees.
All right then. So, but you're telling me that's not supposed to be here?
Not usual. No. Wrong climate. Very old.
Well, that's curious. I'm gonna get closer to the willow tree.
Well, I mean, the willow tree, like you're at the northern edge of the lake on a bluff looking out across the lake, and the island at the center is probably 300 or 400 feet away from you.
I thought it was on the path for some reason.
No, this is like you guys are at the edge. You're on the edge of the lake getting ready to turn north. And this is the narrowest part of the lake. It's probably 1,000 feet across from bank to bank. And in the center, there's this island, and the island has this large stone with a willow tree growing out of it.
What do y'all think, everyone? Should we try to take a closer look at the willow tree or leave it and pass on?
I'm up for checking out the tree.
Yeah, if it's called in Dulisite's interest, let's go ahead and see what's so interesting about it.
Yeah, we have a way across the lake.
Yeah, I will reel in the kite now.
Okay, you reel in the kite. Lucky, as you're looking at the road, you see evidence of traffic on the road. It's difficult to tell how recent it has been, but you do notice cart traffic, kind of very similar to the type of tracks that Bonnie's cart's leaving. You are not a skilled tracker, so it's difficult to tell numbers of carts or things like that, but you do get the sense that these carts are bigger than Bonnie's cart, probably about, it's hard to tell, but maybe twice the size of Bonnie's cart based on the distance between the tracks.
Okay.
Could you tell what was pulling them?
There are no animal footprints.
Oh my god, they have kite technology here too.
Dang.
I'm gonna hide the cart.
Okay.
I'm gonna get some.
I'll help Bonnie hide the cart.
I'm gonna get some branches, kind of tuck it away a little bit.
Go ahead and make a survival check, Bonnie, for your hide.
With advantage if I help.
Do you have proficiency in survival?
Oh, proficiency now. That's not a thing.
Then no.
I have proficiency in survival.
If you help Bonnie, then Bonnie can have advantage.
Will do.
$15.
Okay. So you grab some branches and place them over the cart in a fairly practiced way. You maybe back up the cart a little bit to some of the trees or the copses of trees that are here, so it's kind of camouflaged against them, and it seems fairly well hidden.
I'm gonna put a sign on the door that says "Beware of dog."
And then you all are standing on the northern bank of the river or the lake. The bank here is probably 20 feet from the top of the bank to the lake, and it's straight down. You could walk around the lake to where the bank matches up with the height of the lake, or if you want to find a way to get down to the lake from here. And then how are you planning on crossing the lake?
How far to the island?
About 300 or 400 feet.
I mean, we could swim that.
Are there any down trees?
So I mean, go ahead and make a perception. Well, no, make an investigation check. Yeah. For the area.
Investigation. Ooh, I get to add die 4 to this. Yay,
Josh,
being
I
the
have-
Mothman.
A question.
Okay.
Okay. If a spiritual weapon is a spectral weapon, but it does cause force damage, could you touch and interact with the spiritual weapon as a floating object?
I'm gonna go with a no.
Okay,
I think
that's
it's
fair.
I think it's channeling like divine energy into a point, and it just seems to appear as like a weapon.
Mhm.
The effort's appreciated. Jace.
I love the the thought.
It's a horseshoe. It's a floaty.
25.
25. Okay. You find there's two fairly there's one very large tree that like an old tall, very straight pine that had fallen over probably in a heavy wind. And then there's probably 2 or 3 smaller like oak trees that are fairly young, maybe 5 or 6 years old, that have fallen nearby.
What do you say we lash those together and then try to pull across? If it gets too deep, I'll drop in and tow us.
Works for me.
Give it a try. I'll help put down the tree.
Yeah, we're gonna make.
Did you have something else in Dulisat you wanted to?
I'm afraid of water.
Well, you don't have to get wet.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
No, I don't want to go over the water. I don't want to.
At all.
I can hang back with you if you do not want to join this venture, or someone else can.
We could. I guess we could walk around. You guys.
Okay.
Well, I would really appreciate if someone would guard the wagon.
We could.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on
Sounds like
that.
it'll work perfectly. If you two stay here and guard, we'll truck across and check out the island.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll take you a little while to cut up the larger, if you're going to use the larger tree, or are you just going to use the 2 smaller trees? How are you, like what kind of rafting situation are you trying to create here?
Well, I think we're gonna have the main one be in the middle, and then the other 2 are gonna act kind of like outriggers.
Okay.
And I'll try to find like a really narrow, long branch, and ask Kieran to shave it down so I can use it like a pole, so we can pull our way across.
Okay.
Now use my woodworking skills and kit.
Mhm.
And then how are you getting it into the water?
We would build it next to the water.
So you're 20 feet above the water.
Oh, okay.
On a bank.
You're on a bluff,
Mhm.
like. And then
Could
you
I
can
like
walk around, or you
shape
can go
water
down.
and pull up a
Line 'em-
column
line
of water to?
Line the logs up so that they're facing kind of over the cliff, so we can push it forward. It'll splash down and bob up, and then we can jump down on it.
Okay. You could shape water, probably not strong enough to like pull. I don't think you could pull water up 20 feet, but you could manipulate the water in such a way that maybe it would catch the ship as it hits the water. You could try
Hey,
it.
if you've ever seen how they launch ships modern with rolling off the side, this is
Yeah, I think it would probably work. The only thing you might run into is like if the water is not deep enough for the size of the boat that you've got, or the size of the ship that you've got going in, it might hit bottom as it plunges before it buoyancy catches and pops it back up. So if Ravik is going to use shape water, that would help with the DC on this working for you all.
that works for me.
Yeah,
Okay. So we'll say about 2 hours of cutting everything down, lashing things together, crafting your outrigger. You all have it at the side of the bank, and you're ready to to push it off. Kieran, and you're having it face towards the water, not the sideways. Which way do you want to do?
Going out, because with the outriggers, if we do it from the side, it's possible, and rolling down the bank, it could spin and break off those.
Okay. All right, so we'll do a skill check here. And so it'll be one person's survival, because that's the process of lashing these things together, crafting them. If it's Kieran who does survival, then they can add.
I can help their survival too.
Well,
yeah, I have +4 survival.
And Kieran, I would give you an additional D4 because you have woodworking proficiency on the survival. And then Ravik, a charisma check, which is your spellcasting modifier, to determine how well you can shape the water here.
I can shape the best water better
Please
than
no, not allowed. Not allowed.
This is my
I don't know where that
fantasy
came
space.
Guaranteed your boat sinks now. Damn.
I don't know where it came from.
It was kinda-
I don't like it. Put it back.
Can you take away inspiration, Josh?
Oh god,
Well, Ronnie didn't have
It's a straight
inspiration checked on
charisma?
his thing. Yeah, straight charisma check.
no.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay.
It's a 13
A
total.
13. Okay, so it was going to be a 60-40 failure rate on this working, because you're dropping a quickly put together thing off of a 20-foot cliff into water. With the help of Ravik and with the careful crafting of Kieran, we're now going to go with a 40-60 failure rate on this.
Oh gosh.
So Bonnie, you are the third person who thought this was their idea. So you get to roll the D100. You are looking for something 41 or higher for this to be a successful operation. Now, the objects will still be in the water. You could use them as flotation devices, but whether it's a boat or not will determine this roll.
Whether there's any dignity involved in us crossing to the island is what's at stake here. I was going to ask, can I use my strength in any way to try to aid in its entrance into the water?
So we'll say that this roll, okay, I will give you an opportunity to knock 5% more off of this. Just give me a strength check, a DC of 18.
There we go. 22.
22. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're looking for a 36 or higher for this to be successful. Yeah.
All right. I'll take those odds.
Yeah.
It's 21.
So
We were doing so good.
So good. I mean, 2 hours to build a boat and toss it off the side of a.
Well, hold on, because would guidance help this
Yeah.
angle?
Can we both guidance them as we stare at them trying to do this? We're sitting on the top of the bluff with our legs dangling off.
Okay.
Wow.
Already in my head, it's like this thing hits like 5 stone outcroppings before it even touches like the water that has been brought up to catch it. It's in pieces before it even touches the water.
No.
How close were you to the 36%? You were at 20.
I was
21. We
21.
were a good 14 points low.
So yeah, I would say guidance would have carried, like if it had been within 8 points, I would have allowed the guidance, but but Bonnie, describe. So it goes off and it hits a rock.
It immediately splits in half. The 2 outriggers like spin off in different directions, and there's one conceivably large floating piece of debris in the lake at the bottom that 3 people could cling to and kick their way across the lake.
Yeah, and the reality is probably the larger piece. What you discover is that the water here is probably only 2 or 3 feet deep. And
Oh
it,
wow!
it hits the mud, and so the from the rock impacts, the outrigger things go flying off into the water and skitter across and come to like a rest floating, and then the larger central spruce piece just into the muddy bottom and then just sits there for a moment and then just falls back and hits the side of the cliff face and is just there kind of stuck in the bottom. But you've got it in there if you want to put it out. And
I just love the idea that all three of them are staring down at this and like nobody has said anything.
Complete silence, just great.
And Andalus and Lucky are by the cart.
but yeah. Lucky and Andulasite have heard like clearly the sounds of like
splintering
wood and crashing.
We're watching
like,
from the bluff. We're like standing on the bluff watching you.
Bonnie's just kind of like,
that was the thing.
Okay. And then it doesn't say anything else, just starts walking down like towards the water.
The added benefit here is that the
plank gives us a walkway.
Yeah, like if you want to drop down, like the top of that wood is now leaning against the cliff, probably about 7 feet down. So you could drop down to it if you wanted to.
All right, we'll do that, and I'll salvage the rope.
Okay. Yeah, so most of it's still attached to that central plank. So you drop down to it. It's a little haphazard. You feel like if more than one of you were on it at a time, it might tip. But right now it seems
like dry rotted.
Yeah. But you're able to get some of the rope went with the outrigger. So you say like it probably took two 50-foot lashes of rope. You're probably using 2. You were able to recover one of them. Okay. The other one is off floating away with the outrigger, one of the outriggers. But from here, Bonnie, you can walk down the plank to the water, and you discover that the water here on this bank is only 3 or 4 feet deep.
Oh, don't jump down. It's shallow. I'll start dripping down because we're gonna get wet.
Okay. Kieran, Robert.
I'll follow behind and make my way across with Bonnie.
Okay. And Kieran, you go down as well.
Yep.
All right. So the 3 of you get to the bottom of the bank or the cliff face, and you do discover that for all of you, it's probably lower chest height to wade through. It's a kind of a thick, muddy bottom of this lake here. Probably get the sense that the northern part of this lake is like a flood area. That there's probably parts of the year where the water doesn't come up this far, but here it's now kind of filled up with water. And you start walking out. It does get eventually to the point where it's neck height. So it's probably for about all of you, I think it's about 5 feet deep. And you're wading out and you get to the island. You start to kind of pull yourself out of the island. And this is a kidney bean shaped island, probably 50, 60 feet across at its midsection, and then probably 100 feet to 200 feet long and curved. And the stone with the willow tree is right at the center of this island. If anybody would like to make a perception check on the island, you may.
I will do that. 17.
So immediately, the first thing you notice as you're getting there is that the island is not naturally gardened. It is unnaturally. It is the hands have touched the gardening of this island, and you can tell that because there are clear beds of flowers. It's not like flowers blew in the wind and landed here. There's like beds of flowers, and there is the elements of what you could think of probably like a walking path or something around portions of the island that seem to be wrapping around to the other side of the rock with the willow tree.
Can I make either a religion check or something to try to, like, I don't want to disrespect what's going on here.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Go ahead and make a religion check.
dripping
2.
your muddy little feet all
Yeah.
over this nice
2.
garden.
It doesn't ring any bells to you from any of the religious understanding that you have of things. Mhm. Just
Boy, I
seems
wish
like-
Lucky were here. Lucky would probably tell me to wipe my paws on this flower bed.
Or not.
But you guys are steer on the bank of the island, and you're noticing kind of like the unnatural components here. I mean, it's still all very nature based, but it's polished and brought to some kind of order.
I'll move further up the island. I really want to look at this stone and willow tree. And,
Okay. So you move further, following the path, and it kind of wraps around. And now you get the sense like the stone is that the stone is probably naturally here, and the willow tree probably is as well. As you get around to the side, from the angle that you were looking at it, you were kind of looking at it like this, and now that you can kind of see the side, the willow tree splits at the bottom a little bit, and part of it is going down into the dirt, and then the other part is wrapping around the stone. Like this willow tree made itself able to grow here in a harsh condition and survived, and its branches pouring over the side and creating kind of this very protected area. The rock has carvings on it. Probably none of you know the language. I don't think anybody speaks Gnomish, do they? In this group?
Nobody that I know.
Nobody that you know. So,
All right, kick Rob.
yeah, please. I can't. There's carvings along the rock that are in a language that you don't speak. And when you get around to the front side, there is a crack in the side of the stone that's probably 2 feet tall, and looks like it goes into the stone.
Could one of us crawl in?
Let's see. Kieran probably could. Ravik probably could. You guys are smaller than Bonnie.
I'm 6'3", so Ravik it
You
is.
are skinnier than Bonnie. That's the.
This is true. This is true.
Because I think like you could pull yourself in like combat pull style. The issue is the
6'3"?
wideness.
How tall is Ravik?
I think this whole party is tall.
Ravik, how tall are you?
Ronnie. He had a phone call, so I don't know if he's like.
That's fine.
I think
That's fine.
he's
Bonnie, you're like 8 feet, right? 7 feet?
7 feet. I think.
But yeah, 7 feet.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
so-
whole party is tall, I think, in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Andulos has lifts, but that's all magical lifts. But that's
Yeah.
all you know.
How tall are your magical lifts making you?
What did I say, Josh? I'm like
6'3",
three-
6'4".
it's like
Sorry, guys.
I'm the shortest member of this party.
I listen,
Scream.
Robin is
I'm gonna
6'6".
scream.
Ravik is 6'6". I thought Ravik was 6'2".
I don't know.
he got the magical lifts too. Damn. All right.
Fuck, everybody's huge.
We're
my
like the
God.
giant party. Okay, so Kieran or
Not
Ravik.
terribly smart.
No, that's not.
Yes.
So Kieran, you can probably crawl in, crawl through if you'd like.
Okay, I will give it a shot.
Okay, you crawl through, and you go for about 2 or 3 feet into this opening, and then it slopes down a little bit, and then levels out. And when it does, you realize you can lift your head up. The interior of this stone is completely hollow, minus a couple places where there's like jagged formations of stone that are coming out, and a couple roots from the tree are sticking in here as well. And it's clear that someone has hollowed out this stone. And there is a small, there's an opening in the roof of the top of the stone. And at the center, there is a small fireplace or fire pit. And there's a small cot in the corner. And there's a few random items around the area that seem to, just like, pots and pans and things like that, a spit for cooking things, very basic living arrangement. Other than that, all of it is very tiny, like half the size of a bed that you would normally see.
So basically, I'm guilty of breaking and entering.
Well, technically, you didn't break anything. You just entered. You're guilty of entering.
In that case, I'm going to exit.
Okay, yeah, and there was nobody present in the chamber when you were in there. Yeah, and then you.
When I get out, I will let Bonnie and Ravik know that someone lives here. At a quick glance, did it look like well lived in, or that had been abandoned?
No, it looked like the covers on the bed were fresh and clean. There were like the clothing that was in the chamber was all fresh. I mean, some of it had holes in it or whatever, but it wasn't like dirty and moth eaten. The fire was cold, but you could tell like there's a fresh pile of firewood nearby. Like this was somebody's home, and they were probably returning to it later that evening.
Right then.
Should we wait to meet them, or maybe leave a note? Well, no, we don't have any pen and paper, do we?
Karen would. He's a cartographer.
Yeah, he would, as long as he kept it dry. Yeah. If you want to leave a note.
Let's leave a note. What do you want to say, Bonnie?
Just that we're visiting. We're explorers, and we're sorry we didn't catch them at home. But to please inquire with our offices if they feel so interested in the giant village.
Okay.
We will be back.
All right. So you leave.
We will be back. A threat.
There's a smiley face at the end.
Imagine
heart.
getting this on your doorstep would be terrifying.
We have the new "What Our Characters Do Not See" segment at the end of this. All right.
Someone fortifying the island, like rigging booby traps on
Yeah.
every square foot of the place.
It does. I can't remember who it was said to. I don't know if it was Bonnie or if it was somebody else, because I don't know if you saw it when somebody mentioned seeing smoke coming from an island further away, but I can't remember who that was said to. But this would be that island if it was that person. So that may build a connection in your head. Okay, so you leave the note, and then you all head back the way you came, back to the cart.
We'll have to get Lucky and Dulicite to throw us a rope over so we can climb back up the bank.
Okay, that's easy enough for all of you to do. And so you eventually pull yourselves out of the water, and you're all back together again. And so Lucky and Andalus, Kieran and Bonnie and Ravik arrive back from their exploration of the island.
I'm just mortified to think that whoever was on the island watched us throw 3 trees into the water and then was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Lord.
These
And
weirdos.
that's how you crochet. I have like my needles.
That's
and
beautiful.
stuff.
Yeah. I've been kind of like not getting too far away from the cart, but like looking around the area, seeing if like there's any more signs of life, signs of something interesting.
Yeah.
Lucky clearly is bored and like is like not mad about it, but like an ADHD toddler, like walking
Trying to
around,
find something of interest.
trying to find something to do.
Okay.
Got any games on your phone?
Yeah, you
An iPad baby, truly.
like the cleric express. You've got go ahead and make a perception check as Andalus is trying to explain knitting to you.
Am kind of listening, but also like
Yeah.
I can't like.
And
focus
Julius is
yet
just
with
nervous talking. He's not really like expecting you pay attention.
it. Okay. That is a 21.
Okay. With a 21, you see like the elements of like you're kind of at the edge of the road here. You see the elements of the carts, and as you have been kind of looking down at lower, you do look up at some point and kind of scan the horizon, and at the very like far edge of your vision where the road that curves around to the north of the lake and then seems to like curve out into the plains, which these plains are, you can see the edges of them, like this shifting reeds blowing in the wind of this yellowish, heavy topped, grainy type of very tall grass. You really swear that you see like ship rigging, like way off in the distance. And then it's like disappears over the horizon. But like based on the map that you have in your possession of Highwall,
that doesn't make sense.
There's no ocean that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unless. Okay. Okay, it's noted.
Yeah,
for me.
based on your kind of idea, it's probably I don't know like the full like how far distance is to the horizon. You're higher up than
3
it
miles.
was. Well, you're higher up than it is, so it's probably more like 8 miles. But so it's pretty far away, and it seemed to be disappearing over the horizon away from you.
Okay. Cool.
All right. But Kieran and Bonnie and Ravik rejoin. It is probably now 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
All right, so we can keep moving.
Yeah.
I think we should continue on the path. I
agree.
swore I saw a ship ahead.
A ship?
I know what that sounds like.
Ship.
I really did think I saw something.
I don't know why everyone's doing it, but I'm going to say ship too.
That is the word I said. I'm glad we're all listening.
All right.
Make sure we understand.
Well, if a wagon can have a kite, another wagon could have sails, which would explain why
I
we
mean,
don't
there
see
are
it.
airships. Why not land ships?
Land ship.
Sure.
All right.
Don't be absurd.
All right. But Bonnie sets back up the kite and takes off again, heading north to the northwest along the track as it goes. And the trail kind of follows the maneuverings of the forest for a while. And so it kind of switches back a little bit here or there. But then eventually, as you guys get into 3 or 4 hours of travel north, you get into the full plain. And this has been called the Plain of Shifting Reeds many times to you. And you can tell why, as the wind from now that you're kind of away from the mountain range a little bit, the wind is a lot stronger here, and it's just blowing across this as far as you can see to your north and to your east and west, this massive undulating plain of yellow and white grainy reed grassland. And as the wind blows through, it's just like waves of it goes, and it looks like an ocean of plain as you move through. And this path that you're on does seem to cut through the plain. Like you're not having to barrel your way through the tall grass as you head on this northerly path. And you travel this way for a while until it gets dark. So you can continue to push into the night. This would risk exhaustion for Bonnie and for Kieran, as they are the ones who are actively keeping an eye out and driving the cart. Or you all at the end of your day can set up camp.
I think we
should take a rest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I will
Bonnie
say,
can...
Josh, does the road look like it is just made through constant use, or did they actually try to pave it at some point?
No, it never looks like it was paved, but it looks like a lot of just traffic, and specifically cart traffic.
So we'll want to
All
pull off the
right.
side and not just stop in the middle of it.
Yeah, we're gonna pull off and actually try again to camouflage the cart a little bit.
Okay. And then how are you setting up camp? You are in like there's grassland kind of all around you. So there's not like a copse of trees or anything in this area. It's just kind of wide open grassland.
I'll try to find what little concealment there might be as far as like maybe a hillock or something like that and try to duck the wagon behind it.
Yeah, like
so it's not an immediate view of the road.
If you go off into the grains a little bit, and then, that's probably 4 feet of coverage just from the height of the grass. And then you can, cover the top if you like with other things if you want.
And then I'm going to go back along the path and try to like stand the grass up so it's not apparent that a wagon like drove off into the grass.
Yeah, and the grass here is like, it's not brittle. It's very forgiving. And so the way it moves in the wind, you can tell like otherwise it would just get blown down by the heavy winds here. And so it's easy enough to stand back up and look like a cart hasn't been pushed back through there.
And as I'm doing that, I'll like look down at the soil. Is there like I kind of like want to see if there's any of the evil, icky creatures like we encountered in the woods around here. Like I don't want to be surprised by them in the middle of the night, surrounded by grass.
Yeah. So go ahead and make a investigation check.
I can help.
Oh, great! Thank you. 15.
Yeah, so you get the sense, like the grassland is pretty normal. You grew up in a grasslands, so you're very used to this like area of like what the world looks like. Very different type of grass than what you're used to, but none of it looks weird or strange or out of place or dangerous. You get the sense that like maybe the plains probably gets enough sunlight during the day, and these are entities that do not like the sunlight, that they avoid it.
Okay.
What does camp look
like? We don't set up too much, like mainly like just pat down some grass near the wagon or sleep under it. I'm speaking for everybody here, I guess, but if somebody else wants to chime in, let me know. But definitely not setting a fire on account of grassland.
Yeah.
That'd be good, yeah.
It's like warm out. It's like spring.
Yeah, it's a late spring. It's a little chilly at night, but like you got blankets and things you can cover up. Yep.
And also just don't want to be noticed by a lit fire. Yeah,
and also the beauty of like being down in the grass is that the grass kind of provides a nice buffer to the wind around and things. So. Mm-hmm.
So how do we want to arrange watch for the evening?
I can watch whenever. I'm good.
Kieran has a thing where he can meditate and basically get 2 hours of sleep for every 1 hour of meditation. So he can take a double shift.
Like Kieran and Bonnie, you all have been working pretty hard. You should take a rest. I can take first watch.
It's very much appreciated.
I can watch too if we're all. Too. I can as well.
Yeah, me and Ravik can do first watch. That's fine.
All right, so Ravik
sounds like a plan.
Handle this, and then waking up Lucky for a second watch, and then Kieran taking the final watch, since you don't have to get 8 hours of sleep, Kieran.
Yep.
Okay. So you all kind of eat, and you have the day ahead of you as the stars begin to wheel overhead. It's a new moon right now, so there's not a lot of moonlight. So it's just bright stars and the constellations overhead. The gentle like shifting moaning whisper of the grass as the wind comes by is like almost like being at an ocean and hearing the waves come up on shore. And this just constant like pull. Very meditative for those of you that aren't bothered by weird sounds like that, that would kind of help you drift off to sleep. Any conversations you guys want to have before you go to sleep, or we'll go right into watches?
I'm sitting with Ravik as we're doing like our watch. That's our watch. I'm like, why do you think Lucky saw it breaking?
I don't know, it's very odd. Out here in the middle of the grasslands, I mean, people are innovative. I mean, maybe someone's invented a new way to travel around these here parts, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out on.
Yeah.
Be interesting technology for us to sort of adapt as well. I mean, if it exists.
Like that kind of thing? Like making stuff?
I'm not really a inventive type. I could appreciate the work, but it's not really my calling.
Yeah, you're more like he like acts like he's gonna say something and then doesn't say anything.
No, what's on your mind?
Like
Speak freely.
Like cool guy type.
Yeah, I guess that is fair to say. I think I'm more of a people person, honestly.
Yeah, you just need, it seems like it's really easy for you to talk to people.
It's a skill I had to hone coming up.
It's a skill?
You gotta know how to... Well, I think that's obvious. Maybe I can...
give me pointers? I mean...
Absolutely. What are you looking to charm the pants off of someone, or get them to do something against their...
Why would I want
their
the
own...
pants off?
Well, maybe you like that pair of pants they're wearing. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Depends on what your end goals are.
Maybe we'll start with just gloves. Work our way.
Gloves. Oh, well.
Start small. Really small.
Charm the gloves off someone. Here, well, we can... I'll come up with a few pointers and I'll get back to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, that'll be our thing.
Somebody roll a perception check.
Do you want to, and I can help?
You should roll it. I feel like I'm talking to you.
Okay. With advantage, right? DM?
Yes, you can roll with advantage because both of you have proficiency in perception.
Okay. Oh yeah, I do have proficiency.
Me too.
Forget that little red dot. All right. Would you look at that? A 21.
21. Okay. As you're continuing your conversation, if you like, but I know I interrupted to to do the part that we needed.
No,
Perception
you're
check,
good.
but, yeah.
Josh, I need to message you like one thing, but that's all I really wanted to say to him.
As you all, let me see. As you all are talking, my notes. Oh, I completely missed something that was probably really important. Oh well. In my notes, that's
back
fine.
in.
We can do a back end. As before you all left, Remy would have given you an item, which Kieran you'd immediately recognize is a sending stone.
Okay.
But it's
that would be important.
But it's a limited sending stone, so it only has 3 charges. So you can't like call every day, but you can call 3 times. He did, and this was why it's less important that he gave you a sending stone, and more important because the captain of the ship asked, like, what is the call sign for your group?
Oh, the call sign.
Oh
no. Tell him we'll call him with the sending stone. And
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, so that was going to be my like, hey, if you guys want to come up with a group name now, you don't even. It doesn't have to be a group name if you don't want it to be. But he does ask for a call sign. So back in time, and just know that that's in your head. You guys can try to talk about it off stream and figure out what you want it to be, because it could just be a temporary thing. It doesn't have to be. I'm not pressuring you to name yourselves, but then
You are.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not pressuring you.
You want branding.
I'm
You
giving
want
you
branding,
the opportunity
and that's okay.
to name
Josh,
yourself here.
please, dear God, give me something to say at the beginning of these
I
fucking
know.
sessions.
Like,
So ticket takers.
I miss saying so ticket takers so badly.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But
Sully has to give her approval.
Yeah.
going
Wagon riders.
so in your perception check,
Wagon
riders. In your perception check, Andalus.
Yes.
While you're talking to Ravik, you do see like a
And then
weird.
Josh, did you look at my message?
I will check it out. You do see a weird light. Like probably it's difficult to tell. Probably 200, 300 feet away. Further down in this little valley that you're in. And it just seems to like every time the wind blows through the reeds, you just catch like this weird light.
Both of us are looking at the light.
Yeah, we both noticed it.
Yep.
If Andalus saw it and then pointed it out to you, yeah.
And what in the world? If we focus in on it, can we decipher any sort of detail or discern any detail from?
It's far enough away that it's hard to tell like what it is exactly. It's just that every time the reeds shift a little bit, you just get like this kind of like bluish purple light that flares up for a moment and then is hidden by the shifting reeds. Where did you send me this message?
On Discord.
Did you?
Like just direct message.
Oh, that would be why I didn't see it.
Sorry, it was secretive.
Oh, I see it there.
Yeah. Just.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So they, but yeah, so you see this light like off in the distance.
Huh. That seems strange.
Extremely strange. What? Do we know any history of like? I guess the giants would have told us about like ghost stories or.
No, you're kind of
anything
out
like
of the
that from
range of the giants have said many times that they do not go far from the mountain. And you're kind of out of the range of where they typically tread. But both of you can make a history check if you'd like. Or another roll of your choice if you think that this is something other than.
I rolled a nat 20 on my history check.
Well, perfect.
I'll roll just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a 13, but.
Andalus, historically, I mean, like history is like what you remember, what you've seen in books or been taught or things like that. The only thing that pops up in memory that seems to connect to this is it bears a very similar lighting effect to, you don't even know what to call it. But when you were in the cavern underneath the temple on your mission with Lucky and Ravik, the cavern itself kind of took on a weird light or air, and you know it messed with magic. It was like a purplish blue, like that purplish blue haze that filled the chamber that then was messing with your magic. It has that, like the colors are just too close to that for you not to make that connection.
Yeah.
This is when we were, sorry, Lucky.
It's your session 0.
Yeah.
Oh.
From a gameplay perspective, I kept calling it an aether haze.
Yeah.
But you didn't, I mean, you were never given the name of that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Arcane fluctuation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
I'd talk about it. Yes. We'll just tell Lucky about it and we should watch out. They might not be as visible in the morning, so.
Yes. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't get any closer.
Mm-hmm.
If it does,
it seems to be very stationary. Like it hasn't moved. Like you guys have been on watch for 3 hours or so. It hasn't moved in that time. You just, every time the wind blows just right, you kind of catch a glimpse of it.
Gotcha.
But
just keep an eye on the area and make sure he doesn't do anything strange.
Yeah. But other than that, your watch goes without incident. So you'd be waking up Lucky next.
Yep.
My watch is ended. It's a Game of Thrones reference there.
Yeah. I watched one episode and I decided I didn't like it.
Oh no.
The first episode sucks.
I don't blame you.
First pilot's not
first
great.
episode is awful. And I stand
Yeah.
by that. I stand by that opinion.
It's
Hey, that's fine.
notoriously terrible
I was
pilot.
like, I'm good.
Yeah, we'll wake Lucky.
I asked Lucky if he wants me to chill with him because I can trance and just chill in case he needs anything.
Yeah, Andalus only needs 4 hours of sleep.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you all need
Well,
so little sleep? It's so
I need a good 8 hours to keep these good looks up so you all enjoy. I'll
Does Ravik
see
do
you in the morning.
skincare? I must know. Ravik skincare
Oh,
routine.
he absolutely would do.
right.
skincare.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Smear
And
aloe on
it's
his
weird
face
because
every
like they
morning.
always say take it down to your neck, but like Ravik like unbuttons his shirt and does his full abs.
The full chest, the full torso.
And there's like no
absolutely.
need for it, but he does it.
Absolutely.
My
Alright.
God.
I mean, definitely the hands, like for sure the hands.
Oh, for sure, the hands.
Right. But Lucky and Andalus, the second watch. Lucky, if you want to do the perception check with advantage.
Mhm. Do you point out the
Yep. I
ether
tell you
haze?
that's
We
a-
don't know what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I had to think about something. I got a 19.
A 19. Good. Yeah, you catch the the distant aether haze. You have dark vision as a ASMR, right?
I don't think so.
Do ASMR not have dark vision?
I don't think
I always
so.
forget what races have dark vision.
Oh, I do. I do.
Okay, I thought that they did.
I
Okay,
was looking in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I do have a faint glow to me anyway. And I think once I see Analyst Ravik, you might have seen it. I mean, depending on if you were looking at me or not. But I think as soon as you point out the ether haze, you notice that Lucky snaps on his like sunglasses in the dead of night. Those like tinted blue glasses that he's got, and then just kind of like chills there.
Yeah.
It goes on.
23. You don't. There's no carts come along the path. No travelers. As much as you've seen, like this is a traveled path, you have not seen anybody traveling it. And so there's kind of that weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's travel doesn't mean well traveled, right? But the only thing that catches you is that constant like haze off in the distance. But
cool. Can I try to move towards it?
yeah, I mean it's only about 300 feet away. It's not too you'd go out of Andalus's sight.
Well, I mean, he's.
I just picture that whatever's glowing, that person there is looking back at Lucky's glow, going, "What's that over there?"
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
It's not like I don't think Lucky like fucking like I don't think you could see Lucky from distance. Like in my head, it's like a magic thing, you know. So I imagine like if it's close, it's like. God, I hate like it kind of like. Forgive me. In Twilight,
Like you shimmer.
It's not like the shimmer, but it's like the idea of like you couldn't see it unless you were right there, and then it's like a like I think sheen. I think like in the moonlight, like if you caught Lucky's skin, you'd be like, oh, there's something like there.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be like, damn, this guy can never stealth, you know, that kind of thing.
That's fine. So you, if you want to stealth, go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Yeah. I'll stealth. Oh, that's so much better than I thought it would be. That's a 16.
Okay. So you kind of handle as you watch as Lucky like disappears into the reeds, and is kind of pushing them aside and moving through them. It's very like that scene from I don't know, The Quiet Place, moving through the cornfields, right? You're kind of going through, and every now and then the reeds will shift and you can just see Lucky's silhouette against that blue shimmering light of the aether haze. Lucky, you move to about at dark at night, you'd want to be about 80 feet or so to get a good sense of what you're looking at. So you move about up to 80 feet away, and you are looking, and what you see is a perfectly circular pool of water, like so unnaturally perfectly circular, that is completely natural. Like, it is clear that no one built this pool of water. It is a natural occurrence, but it is a perfect circle. And the water is clear, beautiful blue, and is kind of like giving off this shimmering light as if sunlight's hitting it. And just over the top of it, there's just like that haze of purple, blue aether energy. And now that you're close to it, you look up and you see just like the faintest hint of ley line that's crossing directly over this. Like, the ley lines have been out of whack for 10 years. That's crossing over this spot in Highwall.
Can I get like really close?
Yeah, absolutely. You move up.
I want to like look in the water.
So you get the closer
or like
you get
look
to it.
at the water.
Yeah. The closer you get to it, that shimmer probably grows, because you can feel nascent magical energy, like if you are drinking, if magic is spring water and you are drinking it from the source, and it is filling you. Like, the closer you get to it, the more powerful and wild the magic feels to you. But now you get right up to the edge, and if it weren't a perfect circle, this would just look like a pool of water in the center of this field. But the circle throws you off. It's about 10 feet across. And so it's about 10 feet across on all sides. And it is just ringed with grass. Some of the grass is kind of pouring over the stones at the edges going in. It seems like it immediately goes deep. And it's hard to tell how deep it is, because it's like sunlight's, it's almost like sunlight's hitting the top of it. It's like got the sheen of water at the top. It's hard to tell how deep it is, but you are right on it. And you can investigate it in any way you like. You can tell me, like,
I want to put my hand in it.
Okay.
I want to put my hand like on the top, just kind of like touch the water, like a cat, you know?
Yeah. Make a charisma saving throw for me, please.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that coming, but
this was made for Robin. What do you mean?
Hey man, I got an intelligence of 9. Okay, sometimes we all have to do stupid things.
It's true. I love
it's not on the player; it's on the character.
Yes,
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
That's a 19.
That's not bad.
So it's pretty good.
Okay. So you touch it, and there's a moment where like this ravenous desire to drink of the water comes over you. And you start to go towards it, and then you kind of clear your head, and you can tell like this fog has entered your mind, and you pull back, aware that the moment you touched it, it wanted you to drink of it. It wanted you to put your head towards it.
Okay.
With that knowledge, you may make an Arcana check.
Okay.
Well, water weird?
Water weird?
What a weird.
It's
it's like 21.
21. So Lucky.
Clerics get to use wisdom now.
They do. Yeah. Lucky has never personally experienced this, but has read about it, especially in like the weird niche readings about the ticket takers that Lucky probably spent a lot of time doing at some points in their life.
Maybe.
You are with almost 100% certainty that if you were to put your head to this water and to drink of it, that you would pull yourself into it, and you would pass through, and you would find yourself in another plane of existence. You think that this is a portal to the dream. This is a portal to the Feywild.
Yeah. Ooh. Cool.
Ooh.
Also, those don't like exist right now, right? I mean, like there's no like doorways.
That's a big.
Well, so I mean, as players,
Yeah, so we
you
as
don't
players know that.
You don't know,
That's crazy.
but this seems to be an open portal to the Feywild. Mm-hmm. And whether or not I don't. Lucky may be the only one that has read in history books that the Feywild closed off at some point.
I think
Lucky probably would know that.
Yeah, you probably would have heard that happened. But Lucky would
so bad,
Lucky would also know that that some of the portals had reopened, because otherwise, like, magic would have died out eventually.
Yeah.
And so some of the portals have reopened, so they've allowed some traversal to happen. Some of the major portals are still closed, but like minor ones have reopened.
Okay. Do I know that, like, is this a naturally occurring phenomenon in that, like, portals to the Feywild will just open sometimes, or would this be like a someone opened this portal?
Yeah, go ahead and make a so it could be Arcana or Religion, and depending on which one you roll, it would give you a different answer.
I think it might be about the same for either one. Let's see. Oh no, Religion's better. We'll do Religion.
Okay.
Yeah. 24.
24. Yeah. So
I'm smart at one thing and one thing only.
You know that there are entities within the Feywild who have the power to open portals between the Feywild and the material plane, and then there are also entities in the material plane who have the ability to open portals. Permanent portals tend to align with the ley lines, and since the ley lines have been wonky, it is within the realm of possibility that since a ley line is crossing directly over this spot, that this just opened. So that's within the realm of possibility. It could have happened that way. This could also be a permanent portal. It's difficult to tell what caused it, but both of those are possibilities.
Okay. I might take like maybe just like a minute or two to like meditate, pray, like by the like, I want to take a step back from the water, but like by the like ley line, like ether stuff, before rejoining.
Absolutely.
The camp.
You take a minute to meditate here. This is not a bad thing. I need you to make a charisma saving throw. You would like to win this one. You would like to fail this one.
I would like to fail this one.
Yeah, but you have to roll. It's not a choice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Damn. That 6 really came through for me, thanks, but I think I do have a high charisma.
You do have a high charisma, yeah.
Is it 12?
Okay, so that's a failure. So you're meditating here by the Aether Haze, spending time here in this spot. The first spell that you cast in the next 24 hours is cast at 1 level higher than it would normally be.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, let's go.
And as you're meditating as a magical person and as a magical being, as an Asomar, you can tell that the Aether Haze is slightly diminishing, and it's only at the end of your meditation that you realize that it's slowly been drifting towards you. And like were you breathing it in? Did it go through your skin? It's hard to tell, but it's slowly been drifting towards you, and there's less of it above the little pool of water.
Yeah, I just rejoined the camp.
Yeah, Andalus, you returned to Andalus.
I noticed this and I leave.
Yeah, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, Andalus Lucky returns and looks like everything was fine.
Opens his eyes and looks at you. Didn't say anything.
Just staring at me in the dark.
He's staring at you because he doesn't want to ask.
I love how Andalus is just like, not my business.
It's not. It's that he does want to know, but he's just so fucking awkward.
Do you want to know what I was just doing, or do you want to just stare at me?
I mean, I'd like to know if that's
Just
okay.
asking you. Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, I was investigating the lights over there. There is I believe a small portal to the Feywild.
Immediately a ruffle of feathers next to Andalus, and like Dottie perks up and is just looking at you and listening.
Whoa, like a whole portal you can just go through?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Huh.
I didn't take it. I haven't done that myself, but that's what it seems to be.
Probably really dangerous to go by yourself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Insight check. Why are you like this? Is the insight check here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jace, master of the insight check.
Hey, I really have to. I always have to take high insight just because as a player, do it all the time. That is a dirty 20.
Okay, I got a 17, Josh. For my contested roll.
So, I mean,
so tell them a little bit.
What is Lucky looking for in Andalus' response?
So, I mean, Lucky has caught that Dottie worked up on the Feywild.
Yeah,
right?
Dottie does
that
not
was obvious.
have. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, but like that was, I think, a tell. And then, so I think what I'm looking for is you were like, that would probably be really bad to go by yourself. And I'm trying to pick up.
He's not trying to go by himself. That
right.
was
No. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm more so getting at, like, do you have personal experience with the Fey or the Feywild?
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah. So,
like, are you speaking generally, or are you speaking like personally?
Yeah.
I think probably what you get is there's some kind of like more interest than his normal stuff he's talking about.
Okay.
So I feel like he's like very, very curious.
And any sense of familiarity that Andalus had would not be personal, but like knowledge. Like
Yeah.
All right.
And yep.
I'll allow it.
Nice.
Just this once.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
But as your watch comes to an end, Lucky, you wake up Kieran for the final watch of the night.
And I point out the ley line stuff to Kieran and explain it very briefly to him if he's not encountered it personally.
What exactly is the Feywild?
Well, I haven't been myself, so I can't really describe it properly. I'd be talking about text only, but it is another plane of existence from our own, where the Fae live. There's kind of like there's a light side and a dark side to them. I don't. You want a full history lesson on the Feywild, or?
Not tonight, but yes.
Right. See what I can remember from my classes that I studied so diligently for. Yes. Well,
good or bad, keep an eye on or ignore.
Keep an eye on it. I don't think it's likely that anything would come through, but if something comes through, we very much need to know. And keep your distance from the water. It might want to charm you into going into the Feywild alone, and that's not recommended usually.
Lucky, you would know about the time problem with the Feywild. That's like, that's a very first thing that they always put in the story is like, don't go to the Feywild because
first rule of the Feywild. Yeah.
Thanks.
And I briefly explained time dilation to Kieran too.
Okay.
Andalus,
thank you.
While this conversation's happening, Andalus,
Dottie,
right next to you. Do you think part of me's still there?
I don't know. Is that how you feel?
I don't know. I still don't know exactly what I am.
I feel like you would feel incomplete when something's missing. Kind of like...
Well, I always feel complete when you're here.
Yeah, but different from our complete. You know, like... I don't know.
Andals, was I just a chicken?
I mean... I don't think I'm the one you should ask.
Well, she's not
I think you
here.
I think you probably have to talk to her about it.
Story of our life.
But you're special, obviously.
So are you.
Yeah, I guess so.
She fluffs down next to you again.
We can go check it out in the morning if you want to see it.
I don't know. It feels weird.
Yeah, I imagine. But that's fine. We can do whatever makes you comfortable.
Okay.
I like put the blanket over her so she's toasty.
Yeah.
He has a big quilt he's been working
She does
on.
her feathers fluff up around her and she just becomes like a poof.
Yeah.
All right. Kieran doing solo watch, I think. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Could someone roll for me? My cat has fallen asleep on my arm and
Oh.
it's too damn adorable.
Oh, kitty.
Well, I got
Okay.
a 19. if
A
you wanna take
19
that.
plus your
+4.
okay, 20,
You're welcome.
22, 23. So the only thing you catch that glimmering of the light from what Lucky has said to you is a portal to the Feywild. And you do not, again, like the weirdness of being next to a road that looks like people have traveled on it and not seeing any travelers in the entire time that you guys have been on the road. And that weirdness continues.
Oh, man.
I wouldn't
I
expect
hope-
them to be traveling at night, though. So
I hope a bunch of travelers didn't get sucked into the fucking Feywild. Oh, no.
They're just like further up the track. There's just a curve as all
man.
of the tracks go right to it.
I sense a plot line that's gonna be like the spiders from the Feywild campaign one, where we're like, surely someone will investigate and deal with that. That isn't us.
Uh-oh.
Right.
No, surely it won't come to bite you. All right. But eventually, Kieran, the sun peaks over the horizon and you awaken your crew to another day of travel ahead of you. And everyone is awake.
Yeah.
right then, off we go.
Anything interesting happen in the night?
I found out about the Feywild.
I
Oh.
did talk to Kieran about
Oh.
the Feywild. He had not heard of it before.
You've never heard of it before?
So,
Well, something about it, but it didn't really. It wasn't like it was made obvious that it was another plane. It was just like another place.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's complicated.
Interesting.
I can tell you more about it sometime.
I'd love to hear about it.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm like walking right beside Kieran, like two inches from him.
What's the interior of the cart look like, Bonnie? Is there space for people if they want to ride, or do they need to walk?
There's space, but it's mostly taken up with like provisions at the moment.
Yeah.
But like, if they could all cram in, but it would be very tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dottie's riding in there for sure.
We need to eat room for ourselves.
It shouldn't have to, but like everybody should have. We should probably all have breakfast before we hit the road.
yeah, sure.
All right. So you eat of the rations, and Bonnie gets the kite up, and you start heading away.
Well, a question. Do
Okay.
you all tell Ravik about the pool before we depart?
Yeah, I feel like they tell you about the pool.
I don't tell you about the pool. If someone else tells you about the pool,
I think
that's
I do it. I think I
I just
do
learned
it
about the
as a-
Feywild, so
I
Yeah.
don't tell you.
I think I tell
I just wanna
everyone
look
as a
at it.
general, like, this is what we learned last night.
So Andalus tells everybody. Lucky does not
Yeah.
tell everybody. Okay. Yep.
I just want to look at it. I'm not too keen on getting lost in the Feywild
Well, Ravik,
before I get to learn more about this continent.
Ravik, the Feywild is like very tempting to certain people. So I think maybe you shouldn't go near the pool.
Maybe tie a rope to
My-
him so he can't quite get there.
My self-indulgence is just that.
But that's the
Self-motivated.
problem. That's what the
I
Fey...
can control myself. I don't think I'm too concerned about.
I give him guidance.
Okay.
I tie a rope to
You
him.
feel the magical guidance hit you. As much concerned Andulus watches you.
Yeah.
Actually, your concern is a bit touching to Ravik. He gives you a little smirk whenever he notices the flow of magic kind of
Yeah.
rush over him.
I wouldn't want you to be stuck in there for like 40 years. That'd be pretty bad.
Yeah, that would suck. I just want to see. It's
100
pretty
years.
interesting.
4,000 years.
Can I go with
4
him?
minutes. 4 seconds.
You hear like a light whisper at your feet, Andalus.
Hmm.
Can I go with him?
Here, I'll go with him and you can come with me.
Okay.
All right, I gotta watch him anyway and make sure.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'm gonna babysit Robin.
The cart moves up a little bit, and you realize that as the road curves up, that this pool is really like it's only 20 or 30 feet off of the road further up, but it's well hidden by the reeds. Like from the road, it would be very difficult to see except at night with that light coming off of it. So you get up a little bit, and then Ravik and Andalus and Dottie make their way down to the portal. And I mean, Ravik, it just looks like a pool of water. It is perfectly circular. Depending on how close you get to it.
I'll get close enough just to see it and kind of kneel down, just take a look. And
I would also like to be close to this.
Sure.
Not like right up on him, but like enough to like watch.
Yeah.
Stop.
I'll stay with the cart and keep an eye on the road.
Yeah, Bonnie and Kieran at the cart. What do you so you kneel down next to the water, Ravik, it's there.
and I'll just say,
Go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say you have advantage against being charmed.
Yeah.
And
Being half elf.
the pool knows that and doesn't try to force you to do anything.
Yeah.
Because you
I don't like the thing. The pool knows that. I hate that.
because beyond anything else, Ravik, you are part Fey. The elves
Exactly.
originated in the Feywild.
Yeah.
Your
true,
ancestors
true.
were Fey.
Very cool. Very
It's
cool.
part of the reason why Robert wanted to come down and just lay his eyes on a very rare. I don't know if he might know that the portals to the Feywild are rare and hard to find if they do exist anymore. So just wanted to come down and just lay my eyes on it firsthand. My mother is actually a sea elf, in case it wasn't obvious.
Oh,
I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her, so I don't know. I guess I'm just being a little nostalgic, a little emotional. Just wanted to come down and see one of the few portals that still existed,
yeah, it's probably not the last one you'll see.
I mean, if this one was naturally occurring, then there's no reason that can't be.
It is beautiful. You can imagine what life in the Fae would have been like, or what it is like.
A lot different.
Yeah.
It's not all good. It's not all bad. I guess not that different.
Have you spent time in the Fae, Andalus?
I just know some things.
You are an interesting little guy.
Really? He's like too happy.
I don't know why that's surprising to you, but it's true.
Yeah, I'm looking down at Dot because she's okay.
Dottie's just staring into the water.
Pat her head while she's looking at it.
She looks up at you. Do you think those footprints are recent? And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh.
I didn't think that something could come out of it. I'm stupid. Oh,
I
my
sure
God.
was.
Oh God. Oh God.
Why would Josh put a harmless little thing?
I did
like
roll a
that?
perception check for Dottie, and it was a 19. So
I'm glad that
Incredible.
chicken
She's so
noticed.
powerful. She's MVP, I'm telling you.
yeah, I love
Oh,
Dottie.
Dottie.
Dottie's intelligence, and why is it higher than all of ours?
Well,
She's
That's probably a good thing.
she's solid 10 on intelligence, but
I don't believe it. Add more.
her wisdom is high because
she does have high
Oh.
wisdom.
she has high wisdom. Mhm.
She does have high wisdom.
All
She's
right,
great.
y'all. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, night everybody.
Yeah, she gets like
Night.
plus
Have a good night.
I gotta go help